All right, so you're thinking about hiring an IT company,
Smart move.
especially in today's digital world. But let's be honest, choosing the right one can feel like navigating a minefield of acronyms and tech jargon.
Oh, absolutely.
But don't worry, we are diving deep today
We
into a
are.
stack of articles and even a YouTube video all about choosing the perfect IT partner
All right.
for your business.
Right.
So by the end of this, you'll be able to cut through the noise and make a confident decision.
That's the goal.
So,
Yeah, what's so fascinating about this topic is that so many businesses, they jump into finding an IT company
right.
without really understanding their own needs first.
Okay, that's a great point.
Huh.
So before we even talk about comparing different IT companies, let's kind of flip the script here.
Okay.
What should you be thinking about internally before you even start shopping around?
Well, the How to Choose a Managed Services Provider article had a great checklist in there.
Okay.
So think about your current infrastructure, any compliance needs you have, what operational hurdles you're facing, and where you see your business going in the next few years.
Uh-huh.
It's like building a house you wouldn't start without a blueprint, right?
That's so true. Laying that groundwork first makes the whole process so much smoother.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you've done your homework. You know what you need now comes the fun part, actually finding the right IT company.
All right.
And one of the first things that pops up is location.
Yeah.
Do you really need a local IT company in today's remote-first world?
That's where A Guide to Finding the Right Local IT Company for You article that got me thinking.
Oh,
While remote support is definitely an option,
right.
they made a compelling case for considering local companies, especially for those times when you need someone on site, like ASAP.
Yeah.
Imagine a server crash right before a big product launch.
Oh.
Would you want to wait days for a remote tech to fly in?
Okay, I can see where having that local presence could be a lifesaver in a crisis. But what about the day-to-day stuff?
That's where local shines too.
Okay.
Think regular maintenance, on-site troubleshooting, building relationships with a team who understands your local context. It can make a big difference.
Makes sense. It's like having a family doctor who's just around the corner versus one who's across the country. Sometimes you just need that personal touch.
Right.
Okay, so location is important, but what about the size of the IT company? Should you aim for a big, well-known firm or a smaller, more niche provider?
The How to Choose a Managed Services Provider article highlighted a really interesting statistic.
Okay.
Apparently, 27% of small businesses outsource their IT specifically to boost efficiency and free up their own time.
Time is money, right?
Exactly.
Makes sense to leverage those who already get your world.
And that's where finding a company that's the right size for you really comes into play.
Right,
A small business probably wouldn't benefit from a huge IT firm with tons of overhead.
right. It's like assuming that your neighborhood baker could cater a 500-person wedding. They might make amazing pastries, but the scale's just different.
Exactly, and this is where industry alignment comes in. You know, PCH Technologies in their article argue that small businesses need small business specialists, someone who speaks their language
Right.
and understands their unique challenges.
So you're not just getting tech support, you're getting a partner who understands your industry, its nuances, and the specific software compliance needs that you might have.
Exactly. It's about moving beyond the break-fix mentality
Yeah.
and finding a strategic IT partner who can help you grow and succeed.
So Jonathan Edwards, in his YouTube video, he mentions the virtual CIO service. What exactly does that entail? And is it something every business should consider?
A VCIO, or a virtual chief information officer, it's like having a tech-savvy executive
Okay.
on your team without the full-time salary commitment.
Right.
They help you create a long-term IT roadmap that aligns with your business goals.
Okay.
They might assess your current technology, identify areas for improvement, recommend new solutions, and even help manage your IT budget. That sounds incredibly valuable, especially for businesses that might not have the resources for a full-time CIO. It's like having a tech-savvy mentor in your corner.
Precisely. The How to Choose the Right IT Support Company for Your Business article also emphasizes the importance of this strategic approach.
Okay.
They point out that a good IT company shouldn't just be putting out fires, but actively helping you plan for the future and mitigate potential risks.
So we've talked about local versus remote, the size and industry alignment, even the strategic role that an IT company can play.
Right.
Well, let's get real for a second.
Okay.
When your website crashes,
Yeah.
your emails go down,
Uh-huh.
and you're losing money by the minute, What really matters is how fast they can get you back up and running.
You're hitting on a critical point, and this is where communication responsiveness and those dreaded service level agreements or SLAs come into play.
Right.
You need guarantees,
Uh-huh.
not just promises when it comes to support.
Okay, so break down SLAs for me. What should we be looking for? Both Jonathan Edwards in his video and the How to Choose a Managed Services Provider article stress the importance of clear SLAs.
Okay.
Think of it as a contract that spells out exactly what level of service you can expect and what happens if the IT company doesn't meet those standards.
So it's about setting clear expectations around response times, resolution times, even uptime guarantees. And these aren't just theoretical numbers, right?
Absolutely not. The How to Choose a Managed Services Provider article mentioned that the average cost of downtime for businesses ranges from $137 to a whopping $9,000
Whoa.
per minute.
That's a serious reality check.
It is.
Suddenly investing in reliable IT support seems a lot less like an expense and more like an insurance policy against financial disaster.
Precisely. A good SLA can literally save you thousands, if not millions of dollars in the long run by ensuring that issues are resolved quickly and efficiently.
All right, I'm convinced clear SLAs are a must-have. But how do you know if an IT company is actually good at what they do? What are the signs of true expertise?
That's where you need to dig a little deeper. Look beyond the marketing fluff and focus on their experience, certifications, and track record.
Don't be afraid to ask for proof case studies, client testimonials, anything that gives you real-world insights into their capabilities.
Right.
After all, it's your business on the line.
Jonathan Edwards highlights the importance of certifications,
Okay.
like CompTIA and Microsoft certifications, as indicators of technical competence.
Okay.
These show that their technicians have met certain industry standards and have a solid foundation of knowledge.
It's like checking if your doctor is board certified.
Exactly.
Gives you that extra level of confidence in their skills.
And don't forget about industry-specific experience.
Right.
We talked about alignment earlier, but it's worth emphasizing again.
Yeah.
If you're in healthcare, you want an IT company familiar with HIPAA compliance.
Right.
If you're in finance, you need someone who understands the intricacies of data security in that sector. Choosing a company that speaks your language can make a world of difference.
All right, so we've talked about location size, industry experience, even those all important SLAs. But in today's world, there's one more thing that keeps me up at night: security. How do you make sure your IT company is taking cybersecurity seriously?
Security is non-negotiable in this day and age.
Yeah.
Every business, regardless of size, is a potential target. You need an IT partner who is proactive, vigilant, and has a robust security strategy in place.
Cybersecurity isn't a one-time fix. It's an ongoing process.
She's absolutely right. And Fraser also emphasizes the importance of a GAP analysis.
Okay.
To assess vulnerabilities, this is where the IT company analyzes your current security setup, identifies any weaknesses, and recommends solutions to plug those holes.
So it's like a security audit for your entire IT infrastructure.
Right.
Making sure you're not leaving any doors wide open for hackers.
Exactly. A good IT company should be doing, think, penetration testing, vulnerability, scanning employee training.
Yeah.
These are proactive steps that go beyond just installing antivirus software.
So they're not just reacting to threats. They're actively trying to prevent them. Okay,
That's
so
it.
far so good.
Yeah.
We've covered a ton of ground, but the big question remains, how much is all of this going to cost?
That's where understanding IT pricing models comes in. And here's the key. It's not just about finding the cheapest option.
Right.
It's about finding the best value for your specific needs.
Right, because cheap can often end up costing you more in the long run if you're constantly dealing with downtime security breaches or just poor service.
The How to Choose a Managed Services Provider article breaks down some of the most common pricing models, including flat fees, tiered pricing, and per user or per device plans.
Okay, walk me through each one. What are the pros and cons?
A flat fee model gives you a fixed monthly cost.
Yeah.
For a defined set of services, it's great for predictability, but can be inflexible if your needs change.
So it's like a gym membership. You pay a set fee whether you go every day or once a month.
Exactly. Then you have tiered pricing,
Okay.
which gives you more flexibility. You choose a tier of service based on your needs and budget, and you can adjust it as needed.
So more control and customization, but maybe a little bit more to manage. What about per user or per device plans?
Those are straightforward. You pay a fee for each user or device
Okay.
needing support.
Okay.
Cost-effective for smaller businesses, but can get expensive if your team grows quickly.
It's like paying per ride at an amusement park if you're only going on a few rides. It's fine. But if you plan to be there all day, a day pass is a better value.
Great analogy. The key takeaway is that you need a pricing model that's transparent, predictable, and aligns with how you use technology.
Right.
Avoid those hidden fees
Yeah.
and make sure you get a detailed breakdown of services.
And as the article says, cheapest isn't always most cost-effective or long-term value, not just the initial price tag.
Oh.
Okay, we've talked about a lot of practical considerations, but there's one more factor that I think is crucial, but often gets overlooked: cultural fit.
Yes, this is so important, especially for a long-term partnership.
Right.
This company will be working closely with your team, accessing your systems, handling sensitive data. You want to make sure they're not just technically competent, but also a good fit for your company culture.
Will they be easy to work with? Will they be proactive and communicative? Or will you be chasing them down for updates? These are things to consider.
The How to Choose the Right IT Support Company for Your Business article really hit on why this matters.
Yeah.
A good cultural fit leads to smoother collaboration, better communication, and ultimately a more successful partnership. You want an IT company that feels like an extension of your team,
Right.
not a separate entity.
So we've covered a ton of ground just in this first part of our deep dive.
We have.
You've learned about the importance of location, size industry alignment, strategic IT planning, SLAs, expertise security, and even cultural fit. Feeling a bit overwhelmed.
Don't worry, it's a lot to take in. But remember, the goal is to make you an informed IT buyer.
Exactly.
And there's so much more we can unpack together.
Exactly. In part 2, we're going to dig deeper into some of the trickier aspects of choosing the right IT company, like evaluating those proposals and asking the tough questions that will help you make a confident decision.
Sounds good. So you've done your initial research. You've got a few promising IT companies on your radar.
Okay.
Now what?
Now things can get tricky, right?
Yeah.
You're probably starting to get bombarded with proposals, each one packed with tech jargon and promises of amazing service.
Absolutely.
How do you even begin to compare them?
This is where those questions that we talked about earlier come into play. Remember that cheat sheet from the How to Choose a Managed Services Provider article?
Right.
Now's the time to pull it out.
Okay, so we're talking about really drilling down into, those core services, their experience in your specific industry, their security protocols, how they handle things like backup and disaster recovery. It's a lot to cover.
It is, and this is where having done your homework up front, defining your own needs, that really pays off.
Right.
You can use those needs as a filter to assess how well each company aligns with what you're looking for.
One question that always stands out to me is, can you provide examples of similar clients you've worked with? I'm a big believer in the idea that, past performance can be a good indicator of future results.
Absolutely. Case studies and client testimonials are like gold.
Yeah.
They give you a glimpse into how the IT company operates in the real world,
Right.
how they handle challenges, and what kind of results they deliver. It's like getting a sneak peek behind the curtain before you hire them.
And the How to Choose a Managed Services Provider article also stresses the importance of certification.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's like checking if your surgeon is board certified.
Right.
You want that reassurance that they have the necessary skills and knowledge.
Right. Certifications like those from CompTIA and Microsoft, which Jonathan Edwards mentioned in his video, show that the IT company's team has gone through rigorous training and testing.
Right.
It demonstrates a commitment to meeting industry standards and staying current with the latest technologies.
Okay, let's say you've grilled these companies with your list of questions.
Yeah.
You've compared their proposals. You've even checked out those all-important client testimonials.
Yeah.
But there's still this nagging feeling of, what if my business grows?
Okay.
Will they be able to keep up?
That's a smart question, and it brings us to two crucial factors.
Okay.
Flexibility and scalability.
Okay.
You don't want to get stuck with an IT company that can't adapt to your changing needs.
It's like buying shoes that fit perfectly now, but what happens when your feet grow?
Exactly. The How to Choose a Managed Services Provider article talks about this, emphasizing the importance of customizable service packages and future-proof infrastructure.
Okay.
You want an IT company that can adjust their offerings as your business grows and evolves.
So what are some red flags to watch out for? How can you tell if an IT company is truly flexible and scalable?
Well, look for providers who offer flexible pricing tiers.
Okay.
So you don't get locked into a plan that no longer fits your needs.
Okay.
Also ask about their approach to technology.
Yeah.
Do they embrace cloud-based solutions that can easily scale up or down?
So it's not just about their willingness to work with you, it's about their underlying infrastructure and whether it can accommodate growth.
Right.
I know we talked about SLAs earlier, but I think it's worth circling back to them,
Yeah.
especially in the context of this what-if scenario.
You're right. SLAs are crucial for establishing clear expectations and accountability, especially as your needs evolve.
Right.
Remember those SLAs outline things like response times,
Uh-huh.
resolution times, uptime guarantees, and escalation procedures?
And we can't forget that statistic from the How to Choose a Managed Services Provider article.
Right.
The average cost of downtime can range from $137 to $9,000 per minute.
Big numbers.
That's a powerful motivator to make sure your SLAs are solid.
Absolutely. A
Yeah.
good SLA is like a safety net,
Yeah.
ensuring that your IT partner is committed to minimizing downtime and resolving issues quickly and efficiently. And speaking of value,
Yeah.
did you know that 33% of companies using managed IT services
Uh-huh.
reduce their IT costs by up to 50%?
Wow.
That's a pretty compelling statistic.
That really highlights the potential return on investment when you choose the right IT partner.
Mm.
It's not just about offloading tasks, it's about leveraging expertise, improving efficiency, and ultimately saving money.
Now, while we're talking about finding the right fit,
Yeah.
let's not forget about that intangible but incredibly important factor,
Yeah.
cultural.
Right, because even with the best SLAs and the most advanced technology, if you don't click with the people you're working with, the partnership is likely to be bumpy.
The How to Choose the Right IT Support Company for Your Business article gave some great advice on assessing cultural fit.
Okay.
Pay attention to how they interact with you during the sales process.
Yeah.
Are they responsive? Do they listen to your needs? Do they communicate clearly and honestly?
It's like dating in a way. You're looking for those signs of compatibility,
Uh-huh.
those clues that tell you whether or not you can build a strong working relationship.
Exactly. And just like in dating, don't ignore those red flags if you get a bad vibe.
Yeah.
Trust your instincts.
Right.
Now, I know we haven't talked much about the top 100 managed service providers in the United States article yet,
Yep.
but I think it's a great resource to keep in mind during this evaluation phase.
Okay, tell me more about why this list is so valuable.
Well, it showcases some of the leading managed IT providers in the country,
Okay.
giving you a benchmark for quality and a sense of what's possible.
Right.
Of course, not every company on the list will be the right fit for every business,
Right.
but it's a great starting point for research and comparison.
So it's like looking at the top-ranked colleges or hospitals.
Hmm.
It gives you a framework for understanding what excellence looks like in the IT world.
Exactly. And one thing that stood out to me
Yeah.
is that many of these top providers are regional companies.
Right.
They might not have national reach,
Yeah.
but they've built strong reputations within their communities and have a deep understanding of the local business landscape.
That reinforces the idea that you don't always have to go with the biggest or most well-known company.
Right.
Sometimes that local expertise can be incredibly valuable.
Absolutely.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to make sure we address a topic that's been woven throughout our conversation,
Okay.
cybersecurity.
It's the elephant in the room, right?
It is.
And for good reason, the threats are real and the stakes are high. But the good news is that knowledge is power.
Right.
The more you understand about the risks and the strategies for mitigating them,
Yeah.
the better equipped you'll be to make informed decisions.
And one thing that's come through loud and clear from all of these sources is that cybersecurity is not a one-time fix.
Oh, no.
It's an ongoing process,
Right.
a constant evolution of strategies and tools to stay one step ahead of the bad guys.
Absolutely. Think of it like tending a garden.
Okay.
You don't just plant the seeds and walk away.
Right.
You have to constantly weed, water, and nurture those plants to protect them from pests and diseases.
Yeah.
Cybersecurity is much the same.
It's about the need for businesses to be proactive, not reactive, when it comes to security.
Waiting for an attack to happen before you take action
Right.
is like waiting for your house to catch fire before you buy a smoke detector. You need to have those defenses in place beforehand.
And one of the most important proactive steps is conducting a GAP analysis to assess vulnerabilities.
Right?
Can you remind us what that is and why it's so critical?
A GAP analysis is essentially a security audit,
Okay.
systematic examination of your current security posture
Yeah.
to identify any weaknesses or gaps.
Uh-huh.
It's like getting a checkup for your IT infrastructure
Right.
to make sure there aren't any underlying conditions that could leave you vulnerable.
So it's about finding those weak spots before the hackers do now. The VT3 article, Top 10 tips to choose the best IT support company for your businesses. Went into detail about some specific security measures that a good IT company should be doing.
They did, and I think it's worth highlighting a few of those key tactics.
Right?
They talked about things like penetration testing,
Yeah.
vulnerability scanning, and employee training,
Yeah.
all proactive measures that go beyond just installing antivirus software.
Okay, let's break those down. What exactly do penetration testing and vulnerability scanning involve?
Penetration testing is basically a simulated attack.
Yeah.
Ethical hackers
Oh.
try to breach your systems
Yes.
to identify vulnerabilities.
Okay.
It's like hiring a security expert to try to break into your house
Right.
to see how secure it really is.
So it's a controlled experiment to expose those weaknesses before a real attacker can exploit them. What about vulnerability scanning?
Vulnerability scanning is an automated process that scans your systems for known weaknesses,
Okay.
kind of like running a diagnostic test on your car to see if any parts need replacing.
So it's about proactively identifying those security gaps before they can cause problems. And, of course, we can't forget about employee training.
Right.
I've heard it said that employees are often the weakest link in the security chain.
That's true, which is why ongoing security awareness training is so important.
Yeah.
You need to equip your team with the knowledge and skills to recognize phishing emails, create strong passwords, and report suspicious activity.
So it's about empowering your employees to be part of the security solution, not the problem.
Exactly.
Now, I know we've talked a lot about what a good IT company should be doing,
Right.
but what are some of the red flags, those warning signs that should make you run in the opposite direction?
That's a great question, and I'm glad you brought it up. I think one of the biggest red flags is a lack of transparency.
Okay.
If a company is evasive about their pricing, their experience, or their security practices, that's a huge warning sign.
It's like dating someone who refuses to tell you anything about themselves.
Exactly. Another red flag is a lack of responsiveness.
Okay.
If they're slow to respond to your inquiries during the sales process, that's a pretty good indication of how they'll handle things once you're a client.
Right. If they can't even be bothered to answer your emails or return your calls now, what hope is there once they have your money?
And then there's the red flag of overpromising and underdelivering. Right.
Beware of companies that make grand claims,
Yeah.
but can't back them up with concrete examples or evidence.
Like that old saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to ask tough questions,
Right.
to push back on their claims, and to demand evidence of their expertise and capabilities.
So to sum up this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
we've talked about the importance of asking those tough questions,
Uh-huh.
evaluating proposals, understanding pricing models,
Right.
and recognizing those all-important red flags.
Yes.
But we've also touched on something deeper,
Okay.
something that goes beyond just the technical aspects of choosing an IT company.
Yeah.
And that's the importance of finding a partner
Right.
who you can trust, who understands your business, and who shares your values.
That's what it all boils down to, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about finding a team who you can collaborate with, who you can communicate openly with,
Yeah.
and who you can rely on to support your business as it grows and evolves. And in part 3, we're going to explore that idea of partnership even further. We'll delve into the specific questions you should be asking to assess cultural fit and ensure that you're not just hiring an IT company, but building a long-term relationship that will empower your business to thrive. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of like the nuts and bolts of choosing an IT company, but now I want to talk about that like gut feeling
Yeah.
when you just click with a company.
Absolutely.
You know, the How to Choose the Right IT Support Company for Your Business article has some really good points on this.
Uh-huh.
It's about finding a company that feels like an extension of your own team, not just like an outside vendor.
It really is. And I think, think about it. This is a company that's going to have access to your systems,
Right.
to your data, your entire digital infrastructure. You need to feel confident
Right.
that they share your values, your approach to problem solving, even your sense of humor.
Right. It's like choosing a roommate.
It is.
You know, you might be able to tolerate someone who's messy or has different sleep habits.
Yeah.
For a short period of time.
Right.
But for like a long-term living situation, you need somebody you can actually get along with.
And that article that you mentioned, they had some really practical tips
Yeah.
for assessing that cultural fit
Yeah.
during the selection process.
Okay.
They said, pay attention to how they interact with you during those initial conversations.
Right.
Are they responsive? Do they genuinely listen to your needs?
Yeah.
Do they communicate clearly and honestly?
It's not just what they say, it's how they say it.
Exactly.
It's their tone, their responsiveness, their willingness to go the extra mile. Those are the things that tell you
Uh-huh.
a lot about the company.
Those subtle cues
Yes,
can really reveal a lot.
absolutely. And don't be afraid to just come out and ask them
Yes.
about their company culture,
For sure. What are their core
right?
values?
Like, what are their core values?
How do they approach teamwork and collaboration? What's their communication style like?
Because you want to make sure their style aligns with yours.
Yes, exactly.
You know, if you're a fast-paced, get-it-done company,
Yeah,
you don't want to work with an IT company that's like super laid back.
right.
It takes a more relaxed approach.
Totally. And vice versa, right?
Right, exactly.
If you value open communication
Uh-huh.
and collaboration,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be happy with a company that's very like hierarchical and top down in their decision making.
Right. You've got to find that compatibility.
It's all about compatibility.
Make sure that, your personalities mesh, your values mesh, and your work styles mesh.
Yes.
Now, I want to go back to the top 100 managed service providers in the United States article.
Okay.
We talked about it a little bit before,
Uh-huh.
and I know it can be tempting to just go with a big, well-known name,
Yeah.
but is that always the best strategy?
It's important to remember there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Right.
That list is a valuable resource for, seeing who's considered a leader in the industry.
Yep.
But ultimately, the best IT company for you is the one that best meets your specific needs and aligns with your company culture.
It's like choosing a restaurant.
It is.
Just because a place has, rave reviews and a Michelin star doesn't mean it's going to be the perfect spot for your birthday dinner.
Right. You have to consider your own preferences.
You have to consider your preferences,
Yeah.
your budget,
The overall vibe you're going for.
the vibe, yes. And, while that list focuses on national providers,
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember that those local or regional IT companies can offer a lot of value too.
I agree.
They often have a much deeper understanding
Yeah.
of the specific challenges and opportunities
Right.
within their communities.
They're more embedded.
Exactly. And they might be more agile and responsive
For sure.
to your unique needs.
And, choosing an IT company, it's not a one-time decision.
It's
It's an ongoing relationship
Oh, yeah.
that requires attention and nurturing.
You got to keep that relationship going.
You need to regularly review your needs, evaluate your IT partner's performance, and make adjustments as needed.
So it's not a set it and forget it situation.
It's not.
It's about having an open dialogue with your IT company,
Yes.
being willing to adapt,
Uh-huh.
and working together to make sure that partnership stays strong.
So to wrap things up, here's a final thought I want to leave our listeners with.
Okay.
Choosing the right IT company isn't just about solving those technical problems.
Right.
It's about finding a partner who can help you leverage technology to actually achieve your business goals.
Yeah.
Whether that's improving efficiency, boosting productivity, enhancing security, or just driving growth.
Yeah.
The right IT company can be a valuable asset helping you transform your business and reach new heights.
It's about finding a team that shares your vision, who understands your challenges,
Huh?
and who is dedicated to helping you succeed. It's about building a relationship that empowers you to use technology as a strategic advantage.
And remember, if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed by the process, or you just want a second opinion, we're always here to help.
That's right. We love diving deep into these topics and helping businesses make informed decisions.
So listener, go out there, find that perfect IT partner,
Yeah.
leverage the power of technology,
Absolutely.
build a strong relationship,
Yes.
and watch your business thrive.
And until next time, keep on diving deep.